Hello, good evening, folks. Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy stream. We're going to be playing some more Death and Taxes today. An anonymous donor donated to see some Mangara in action, which hasn't been on this channel in quite some time, so I'm happy to see it. Anonymous donor, I know who you are, but they don't get to know who you are. You know how it works. Thank you very much for your support. It's very much appreciated. SSBM Pepperjack, thank you very much for the support. Very much appreciated. Glad you could catch a D&T stream. Well, I'm hoping there's going to be a lot more of those in the future. Like deck feels like it's in a good place. Okay, so let's briefly talk about the deck. I was told to play a Mangara deck list, and I thought that Skyclave Apparition would be something that would supplement Mangara, rather than like Mangara slots in over it. So the idea is that Skyclave Apparition can be the temporary first answer to some of the stuff in the early game, and Mangara can help you to clean house in the late game and just like do Mangara-based stuff that just takes over games when you have Vile. But I thought if I was going to play both Skyclave Apparition and Mangara of Corindor, that overall my game was going to be kind of slow. And so I figured I would need more 2-drops than normal to make sure that I'm not just clunking myself up with late game removal with nothing to do in the early game. So I'm trying a split of Luminarch Aspirant, Spirit of the Labyrinth, and Stoneforge Mystic in these 2-drop slots to fill up most of my slots. For those of you who didn't see my previous stream, Luminarch Aspirant was absolutely insane there. Stoneforge Mystic is a very mana-intensive threat. It often requires 6 mana to be effective, and sometimes even when you go for the equip, it still doesn't result in you winning. Whereas Luminarch Aspirant is just kind of this 2 mana, flop it into play, and it will slowly win you the game over time, and it's surprisingly threatening, especially when you have multiple of them or when you have something that's evasive. So I've been really, really impressed so far with it in testing. In Skyclave Apparition decks, you oftentimes open up more of your sideboard to being available for combo hate, and that's because you don't really need to rely on Council's Judgment quite as much, since you have main deck answers to a lot of things that Council's Judgment was previously answering. So that opens us up for more things like Mindbreak Trap that normally wouldn't be in the deck list, and we're also playing a sort of Feast and Famine. This was something that both Lomer Boy and XJ Cloud have been trying out, and conceptually, I really like it. It's a good way to push through various problematic creatures in the format, from Icefang Coatl to Uro to Plague Engineer to good old Elk. So I really like the protection that it offers right now. I could say some more about this deck list, but I think I just want to hop into some games tonight. Let's battle. Ooh, that's right. I've played a couple of shameful D&T decks that I don't want to talk about off stream. Let's open a couple of chests real quick. No, I'm not. I'm not playing Fire and Ice here. That's worth talking about, Jazzy. So, if I'm going to play a whole bunch of Luminarch Aspirants, I probably don't want to play the full set of Stoneforge Mystics. And if I'm not going to play the full set of Stoneforge Mystics, it doesn't really make sense to play all 3 equipment. So I cut Sword of Fire and Ice because I see it as being the least critical. Jitte can help steal games versus goblins and elves that otherwise might have been very tough, and Batterskull is what you get to stabilize your life total. Sword of Fire and Ice is often there for the protection and the card draw, but we're kind of taking our endgame inevitability in different directions with this deck list. Right. Are any of these cards that I care about? Yeah, probably not. Oh, Boon Satyr. 90. Hamlet, the Tested. Let's add that to the trade binder. That's at least a mythic. Hamlet. Yeah, I thought about throwing Eldrazi Displacer in here. That would be Be a good ad. But again, it's like kind of the 3-drop problem, right? Like you can only have so many 3-drops. How do you feel playing D&T in a format with elves being pretty prominent? I don't love that elves is like 6 or 7% of the metagame, like that's for sure. But D&T is pretty darn good against the fair decks of the format right now. So I feel good about the deck's placement as a whole, and not good about the elves matchup. Oh, let me shut off desktop audio so you all aren't getting Moto sounds. Sorry, I was recording Monster Train, which requires me to have that on. I'll be keeping this hand. This is not an overly exciting hand. Like there's no Vile, there's no Mom here. This is just like a classic good stuff D&T hand. Also, this is loud as hell. Moto sounds were bugged for a couple of days where they didn't work properly sometimes. Oh, that's not good. That means like show and tell or storm. Horizon Canopy is not really a good land. That's why. So Horizon Canopy and equivalents are fine, but if you play one of those, you're opening yourself up to Wasteland a little bit more, and you're opening up your life total to be a little bit lower in the average game, and neither one of those things is particularly good for you. So I don't really love it. This is a matchup where like Stoneforge Mystic sucks, but Luminarch Aspirant is very good. So like you just play out Luminarch Aspirant at some point in the game, and you never have to commit mana to it again, and it just makes your primary threat very good. Where's your 4th mana coming from for Doomsday? Oh, there it is. Okay, we lost. Um, my best line to win probably involves keeping them off of Snow-Covered Island with Rishadenport. They need to get blue, and I can maybe stop that. If you're curious why those Mindbreak traps were in the sideboard, this is it. This is the sort of thing that's very hard to beat. I can zoom in on this. There you go. The opponent gets to search their library and graveyard for 5 cards, exile the rest, put them on top in any order, and they're going to lose half their life rounded up. If I were to guess, opponent's piles probably involve Street Wraith, just as something that's not a spell that can get through Thalia. They probably have to have at least one more mana source in hand or deck combined. Also, just throwing it out there, if this was an aspirant, I could get to 2-turn my opponent there, and like I would have the option to just go aggro over Stoneforge Mystic. So instead of porting them, I could just uh, play aspirant, attack for 3, and then attack for 5, and then I have lethal. So it's like very definitely a huge difference. Yeah, and this is another case where it's a huge difference because if I play Flicker Wisp this turn, I open myself up to death. I need one more damage so that I can kill next turn. And if I just wasteland this fetch land, slightly awkward for me. Because I can't put the last point of power I need to kill next turn into play. I need to port, and I also need to play out another point of power. I guess I can make this decision after crashing for 2 with Alia. So I think I have 3 different lines here. One involves wasting Polluted Delta to try to get them to crack it and go to 2. One involves playing Stoneforge Mystic and porting. One involves Flicker Wisping and porting. I can't really play Flicker Wisp because Force Blue card is the 2 remaining cards in hand, meaning that I can't port. I think I need to Stoneforge, get a piece of equipment, and port them. Not sure that wasting this actually accomplishes anything. Yeah, and this is why I love Luminarch Aspirant so much. Notably, there are 4 Luminarch Aspirants in this deck, so, like, it's not like this could have been it, but, like, this is the sort of thing that I very much care about. Okay, that's fine. I think it's very risky to go for Wastelanding then, because if they just, like, fetch and they already have the card, like, if they already have the Thassa's Oracle in hand, it's, like, very, very awkward for me in all likelihood. Or they could also, like, instant speed do cycling via Street Wraith and maybe get what they need anyway. I think I stand by my line there. Alright, I like Deafening Silence, like Mindbreak Trap, I like Sanctum Prelate on 3. Yeah, but I think if I fetch and don't present lethal the next, if I wasteland the fetch and don't present lethal the next turn, very awkward for me because most of what they have is probably redraws, and not killing them puts them 1 card deeper naturally towards the kill. Yeah, Innistrad Revenue Service, but what if they don't fetch? What if they just let it get wastelanded and they have Lotus Petal, which they did, then they just tap Swamp for Lotus Petal, then go like blue blue for Island and do their thing. cycle Edge Bottom. No, if they... I see. Alright, Jitte Batter Skull Stoneforge Mystic Package kind of sucks here. I'll probably be looking to cut that, but Swords to Plowshares also sucks. Mangara is also not great, but eh. Sort of Feast of Famine's actually okay. Eggclave Apparition maybe gets better in post-board games, but I don't think I want 4. Um, this hand has 2 pieces of equipment in it. I want no pieces of equipment in my hand. And I don't have something like a Sanctum Prelate or Thalia that really makes this hand pop off. I'm going to mulligan this one. This hand is fine. We'll keep this and pitch the Mangara. Sorry, Mangara. Mom's not really good in this matchup, but Mom's not terrible. Mom attacks for 2 on Luminarch Aspirant turns. Mom can protect from some Planeswalkers and some things like Baleful Strix that are sometimes seen in post-sideboard games. Damn it. Fair. Send them. We're gonna watch Luminarch Aspirant do Luminarch Aspirant things this game, I think. Playing with the Luminarch Aspirant is a little tricky because there's going to be arguments to put it on Mom, the first counter on Mom, and arguments to put the first counter on Luminarch Aspirant. The biggest argument to not put it on Mom is our opponent naturally playing Baleful Strix on this turn. But that's okay. So we now have our primary win condition in play. For the rest of the game, I intend on double porting our opponent. We are also going to do damage quickly enough that Doomsday and not winning in the same turn may actually be very scary. We're just going to go ahead and split these here, and I'm just going to crash in. Feels like our opponent has something like Limduel's Vault that they're holding up. These points of life are very precious. I'm attacking for 5 next turn. So opponent now needs to Doomsday and win in the same turn. Fetch lands are now off the table for the opponent. God, Aspirant's so good. Boarding into Death Shadow would be some tech. God damn it. There's another reason to not split. I'm gonna give them the 1 turn window to kill me. Like, they're kind of at the point where if they can kill me, they can probably kill me through most of what I have, and I think I need to make them kill me on the same turn that they cast a Doomsday. Like, if I just put the Batterskull into play, that represents a lethal threat in 2 turns on its own, whereas Skyclave Apparition is a 3 turn threat on its own, but that also allows me to port. This is not a matchup that D&T normally wins. By the way, in case you haven't played this one, Doomsday is very hard to beat. It's a combo deck that can pretty easily just play through Athalia. It's a combo deck that Revoker really doesn't do anything against. And it's also a combo deck that, like, even Spirit of the Labyrinth is only medium against. It can also just beat a Deafening Silence many times. So, yeah. See ya. So Lotus Petal, Thassa's Oracle kills me quite easily. Yeah, I was really happy to participate in that project. A lot of smart people said a lot of good things. I don't get all the credit there. Like, I liked a lot of what Max Dorshin had to say in particular. This will be Edge of Autumn, crack LED for triple blue to get the kill. No, I don't think Mangara is good. We got a donation for Mangara. We'll try to win some games with it, but it's very much not relevant in this matchup. Although, to be fair, most of our cards aren't relevant in this matchup. So if we go back to the deck list for a second, like looking at the sideboard cards, we don't have that many super relevant things for the matchup. Like, this is good and about the best that I can do. But like, all of this stuff is beatable with tools that are in their arsenal. Our opponent did win that match because they were playing Massacre, though. That's most certainly a recent re-inclusion in the deck list due to the resurgence of Death and Taxes. I've been testing Apparition as a 3 to 4 of in the 75. It's very good. I don't know how many is correct yet. I've been playing 4 aspirants in most of the builds that I've been playing. Card's great. Like, I spent all of last game talking about how aspirant's better than Stoneforge. Hello? Hello, Rock Nation? Oh, they have arrived. Uh, yep, we'll keep kind of a medium looking hand. Alright, we're playing against Snow. Our hand is medium minus versus Snow. If the Skyclave Apparition resolves and takes out like their Oko or Uro or whatever, we're in pretty good shape. But otherwise, I'm not actually in super good shape. Stoneforge Mystic isn't Oh, oh no, friend. Oh no. They are brainstorm locked. And I'm going to floop a Spirit of the Labyrinth into play. How often does Aspirant get out of hand for you? Almost every game. Card's very good. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to play it or Stoneforge here. I don't think I'm supposed to port. I think I'm just supposed to develop my board while my opponent's behind. Next turn I can put Batterskull into play and then play Luminarch Aspirant, put a counter on it. Playing Luminarch Aspirant now is better versus Oko. Playing Luminarch Aspirant later will probably be better versus just generic removal cards. I think I just want to put the Aspirant into play. This is going to be a more aggressive line. Oh wow, I like actually legitimately feel bad for the opponent there. That's super rough. What is a Mangara? A relic from ages long since past. An old friend of mine. Yeah, it's spelled with a C, but phonetically you've got it. Wow, still? Opponent is super unlucky. Alright. I like Sword of Feast and Famine. I like another Skyclave. I like Rest in Peace to stop Uro-based shenanigans. Um, may or may not play Ballista. Ballista's okay. um, yeah. So maybe do a little bit of hedging against Plague Engineer on human. Opponent doesn't have too many great Flickerless targets, and Jitte is pretty medium in the matchup. I think I like trying something like that. Luminarch Aspirant notably is a human cleric, so if opponent puts that on human, I'd be looking at like Mom, Aspirant, and Thalia all dying. So my issue with bringing in Ballista here is I don't know exactly what I board out. Like Swords to Plowshares is awkward in this matchup, and that like you kind of need to keep them in to answer uh, Plague Engineer in particular, but also Uro and sometimes Ice Fang or just an elk that's a little bit annoying. Uh, this is an okay hand, but again, I don't love Stoneforge Mystic in this matchup. Ooh, this could be a very good Phyrexian Revoker, depending on what my opponent does this turn. So shut them off of green, perhaps, by revoking an Astrolabe. It's really awkward if I revoke Astrolabe and then my opponent just like slams Mr. Elk. I have this for after I draw another white. I'm gonna try to take the freebie here. Well, would I Swords to Plowshares and Ice Fang Coatl this turn? I don't think I would. Um, Downforge Mystic represents a sneaky Batter Skull that my opponent isn't going to know about. Also, like, fuck this light blue text. Please, Magic Online, remove this. This is just like absolutely one of the worst UI changes I have ever seen in any game in the history of ever. That is so not readable. Like, this also isn't great. Like, I'm on a 27-inch monitor, and that light blue text is still a little rough. I think the black text that was there before is fine. That's been working well for years. Like, we can roll back to that until we figure out something better. Yeah, and that's one of the problems with picking red, right? Making a food there is super weird to me, rather than just creating an elk. That makes me worry about like a dead of winter or something. Missing out on my next land is pretty rough here. Hold on, are you saying Wizards makes changes and decisions without testing? Crazy. Totally crazy, right? That one was low hanging fruit, but I'm not sorry about it. I think I'm supposed to put this one into play. God, I need land. Alright, which way do I want to do this? So, if I attack the player, I get to untap all my lands, which means that I can do something like play a Rest in Peace to stop an Uro from potentially hitting the battlefield. The 2 mana matters a lot when I'm this tight on mana. But hitting the Oko so that, it's at low loyalty also matters. So I can hit the Oko for 5, it pluses back to 4. I will have trouble killing it from there. What if I attack them and then put in a Batter Skull? Maybe that gets me somewhere cool. Them taking my Sword of Feast and Famine is kind of a huge deal, though. Shouldn't let that happen. Oh, shoot. Target artifact or creature you control and target creature and opponent. Okay, right. The top half does artifact, not both halves. Alright, so I have to use my next turn to play Rest in Peace now. Oh, this game is so different if I have one more mana. Like, Skyclave Apparition's on the table, Mother Runes for protection to finish off the Oko is on the table. Basically just womp womp all around. What? What the F am I supposed to think about that? Opponent has to have Swords to Plowshares for my Phyrexian Revoker? Or, like, Abrupt Decay for the sword? That's what makes that make sense? Regardless, I still think I try to kill the Oko. Then I have to decide between, like, Rest in Peace and Mom or Skyclave Apparition on Oko. I can kill the Ice Fang here if I want. for 3 damage. I really need to get the Uro out of the graveyard. I don't think I want to give them a card. I think I'm just going to trade my Elk for Ice Fang and call that fine. Different if I also attack with Stoneforge there. I think I'm largely good with being upgraded into an Elk here. Sequencing there, well, no, maybe not a mistake. If you're thinking specifically about number of cards in graveyard, that's the better line. Opponent could have another Uro in hand. Yeah, this is all fine. Alright, this is you or a permanent you control. I probably junk the Leovold with Swords to Plowshares, and then try to remove Oko with Skyclave Apparition. Like, opponent's going to get at least 1 card this turn. Oh, we got it. I didn't want that to happen. Oh, good. Annoying. I think this is a forced line here. Like, I would like to play the Rest in Peace to stop an Uro from hitting play. My opponent is just like a land away from playing Uro, but my life total is way too precious here. That's a super tilt. Yeah. Escape cost 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, but not the right colors. Yeah, I can play 2 creatures and then die at 1. Alright. That's a frustrating loss. Like, I suppose it's fine. Like, our opponent had a non-game game 1. On the play, my Thalia becomes slightly more appealing. I only played Leyline in the Black Splash that could also cast them. And it's very good. Play Vile, into Vile. We're on the play, so something like an Abrupt Decay isn't nearly as impactful. And this hand gets absolutely insane if we draw a second land. Then I get to deploy either Thalia or Spirit of the Labyrinth on turn 2. Um, fine with that because I have the second one, but now if I miss on land and opponent also has Abrupt Decay specifically, I'm probably dead. Great. Oko is still incredibly bad. Play Engineer also rather savage. That's annoying, but like by far not one of the worst things that could have happened. I think I cast the Thalia, trying to get my opponent to brainstorm in response, and then savage him with Spirit of the Labyrinth. Oh, don't even let me. Okay. That you would like to draw a card? Oh, so dead to a Plague Engineer. But I don't think I had to play around it. Alright, so I can blink this at my end step. Comes back on their turn, they get 3 life, but they don't get to draw a card. And I take it out of the way. Not total crazy person talk. I guess by the same merit, I can blink it on combat on their turn. Let's move on. $15, Moses. $15. We're getting 3 for 1 by that Plague Engineer. Our opponent is going to have a 6/6 in another turn or two, and I have a 3/1 that can attack and no more cards in hand, we're we're dead. No, I keep the donation price at a price point where like a college kid could do it like very easily. Yeah. Um, JDK, I'm respecting my time there. I think my chances of winning that game are like way less than 10%. And like I'm just not gonna do anything for 20 minutes if I play that game out. I'm good. Like they get a 3 for 1 that turn that blanks one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8 of the cards in my deck. Yeah, like we're good there when I'm Hellbent. I mean, why does it matter which one it's better against? It's good against both. V4, you can scroll over the cards on stream on screen. That's the Cardboard Live extension, and you can copy the deck list from there. We have a very good hand if this Ether Vial resolves. We have a pretty good hand against like a deck like Rug Delver that's reliant on creatures, and an okay hand versus something like a combo deck. We have a turn 3 Thalia guaranteed as of right now, and a turn 2 Thalia is possible with the top decked land. Looks like we're playing against lands. That one of Phyrexian Revoker would be pretty hot against this opener. Oh wait, hold on. Chrome Mox Gamble. No, this is just Belcher. Our hand is better than it was before. Our opponent gets to empty for a lot. I'm not going to count how much it is. They'll tell me in a second, but I think I'm dead. Yeah, I have no lines to survive other than yeah. Cool. Yes. Yes. Yes, even though you're too slow. Yes. Surgical Extraction's pretty bad. Skyclave Apparition can technically hit a Belcher if it's flopped into play, but more generally it can hit a piece of artifact mana or a Tinderwall or something that's played out. There's there's a lot of things that aren't great in this matchup. Like Swords isn't great, Jite isn't great, Spirit of Labyrinth isn't great, Mangara is like 100% too slow. Flicker Wisp doesn't have a lot of targets and not super relevant. Fine and Andy, view Mindbreak Trap and Deafening Silence as copies of the same card. They're just things that attack from the different angle, but they largely do the same thing. Probably Reaple cheap. So maybe shave and aspirant. I'm not sure if it's better to shave aspirant or flicker wisp. Both feel really bad. Yep. Pen's not great, but it has mind break trap, so like I'm obligated to keep it. The awkward thing about it is that I can't really play aspirant on 2 to start having a threat. But again, we've got mind break trap, so can't toss it back. I think opponent could have played this turn around mind break trap, right? To go land grant into Burning Wish immediately. I think they have lines there that are better than what they did. I do not think I have anything to fear this turn. It may be better to just put Luminarch Aspirant into play so I can hit harder next turn rather than Wasteland or port them. Yeah. On the draw, I think I'm going to board out a Flicker Wisp or another Aspirant. I think I basically need to have one of Deafening Silence or Mindbreak Trap in my opening hand for it to be playable. Fuck yeah. I think I need to sit here and think about this hand for a little while, though, after my opponent gives me the chance to mulligan. Make it seem like it's tough. Alright, that's spell 2. Third LED. I will very gladly wasteland them. Okay, how do I want to play this turn? I basically only need to play around weird stuff at this point. I go Sanctum Prelate on 2 or 4 to play around various things. I can just play Luminarch Aspirant and hold up Caracas for Thalia / the ability to cast Mindbreak Trap. I think I like not dropping Mindbreak Trap access. 2 turns of Luminarch Aspirant in play also means that Thalia can't be removed by most weird removal spells that deck might play. There might be a line with Prelate that just like results in my opponent being 100% dead, but I'm not familiar enough with all of the lists for sure. I will be playing Sanctum Prelate this turn. It was interesting. 4 is interesting. 0 less interesting. Naming something for Echo of Eons is also kind of interesting because that's one of the things that can actually interact through Mindbreak Trap. I think I'm going to name 4. My opponent playing a whole bunch of creature-based mana and then flooping a Belcher into play with 5 mana and activating it with LED is probably the easiest way that I die. Oh shit, 4 stops my own Mindbreak Trap though. That's probably not the name. 2 for Burning Wish based lines. Or do I just name 6 for Echo? I confirm Echo is 6. I'm like 90% sure. Yeah. I think Echo is what I'm most scared of. Echo takes Mindbreak Trap out of my hand. Yep, and I don't get to Mindbreak Trap that. That sucks. Just the second spell this turn. This league's great. 2 combo decks I'm very bad against, plus Snoko that wasn't really a game. Great league. I mean, kind of, basically whatever version of D&T we would have played in this league would have gotten rolled. Like, hitting Doomsday and Belcher in the same league is brutal. Excuse me. Ugh. My excitement level from the beginning of the stream, like we started up here and now we're down here. Good news is at this rate we can play some Monster Train tonight. The sideboard 3 mana X1 is probably not a good place to be. Sanctum Prelate is better at a lot of that stuff while being more flexible for other matchups. Yeah, fine and Andy. I don't even have everything recorded for the rest of the week yet. It has been a rough week at work. I got up early today and worked late today. Bad combo. I'm also on like a 7 streak, I think, on Monster Train right now, so like I'd like to keep that going. This is a very good hand. Yeah, I think that last challenge really requires you to just high roll a good deck and get through it. Hands with Reclaimer? I was not entirely convinced that that shark-based plan was actually going to work. Uh, it was very amusing. Everything came together beautifully. That was one of the Reddit-worthy recordings. I don't usually post my daily videos up there because like I don't just want to bombard a subreddit with my content every day. I don't think that's healthy for anyone involved. Cool, cool. I think I've already lost this game. Play it out a touch longer, but I know they have Caracas, I know they have Punishing Fire, but this makes their mana a little bit tighter when they're on like Life from the Loam and Punishing Fire based stuff. I now know that my opponent isn't lands. I think they are the like Knight of the Reliquary style deck that also plays Elvish Reclaimer. Yeah, I know. I'm very unlikely to win this game. I would like my opponent to show me a few more cards first. Like if I see a Knight of the Reliquary or something of that ilk, I will be happy to concede. Because like then my opponent has a threat that backs up their removal. Alright, so if you haven't seen this one, when a land enters the battlefield under your control, exile the top card of your library. You can play that card as long as it remains exiled. Beginning of your end step. If there are exiled cards from that, put it into the owner's graveyard, and then this deals damage to you equal to those number of cards. So this is pretty cute with fetch lands, and it's very cute with exploration. Now my opponent might actually just be a lands deck. Yeah. Now that this is in play, I can actually get a few more looks at... Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess they're lands. I'm going to look at a few more cards in their deck. And call it good, but I'm pretty confident that I know what's going on over there. Do something cool with the red mana now. I don't know. I don't really think Valakut Exploration is all that good unless you also have regular Exploration. Like, when you don't have regular Exploration, it also just kind of feels like it's a 3 mana enchantment that does 1 damage a turn and sometimes draws a card. Yeah, like there's other synergies with the rest of the deck, but I feel like Exploration is what makes this card good. They've found stage. They can get depths now. I'm very confident that they are actually just like regular lands at this point. I'm just going to go ahead and concede for my sanity here. We get 5-ish graveyard hate cards. Surgical, Rest in Peace, Rest in Peace. Sanctum Prelate on 2 is great. Skyclave Apparition for opposing permanents is great. Stoneforge Mystic package, not so much great. I'll probably be boarding that out. It's cool to go to 21. I kind of feel like I want to be disruptive. I think I want to keep all of the Swords to Plowshares for both Merit Lodge and Elvish Reclaimer. Spirit Labyrinth doesn't seem great. Sylvan Library could be in my opponent's deck, but That's largely it. Where did this leave me? So leave me at 61. Thalia? Run 3. A little light on 2-drop plays. Since I'm boarding out 6 2-drops. The correct cut is probably a Mangara, but like the donor donated to see a league with Mangara, and like Mangara has not gotten into play this league yet. Like, try to get them in there. Yikes. 23 lands available. Hand's very good if I spike a land next turn. Otherwise, the hand is oop. So like, I have a graveyard hate. I have a redundant piece of graveyard hate. I have the best lock card in the matchup. I have a standalone threat. I have an answer to bullshit enchantments. I have an answer to an early reclaimer. Is this worth risking it? Borderline. Like, there's a lot of hands where I don't get to play Magic. Sorry, there's a lot of draws where I don't get to play Magic. I think I can miss 1 turn, and it's okay. I think 2 turns starts to get into rough territory. I'm gonna keep it. If there were real stakes on the line here, I would mulligan this one, but like, we're 0-3 in a league. That's not the one drop that I wanted my opponent to lead on. Wanted them to lead on Reclaimer so I could swords it. So lucky. Alright, just play Aspirant or play Rest and Peace Out. I think play Aspirant, because I have Surgical. Getting this to 3 toughness so that it lives through Punishing Fire is a really big deal. Aspirant's great. No, it requires more work than Goyf, but it's quite good. Yeah. I'm in a Surgical Punishing Fire. That'll help me figure out how to play the rest of my turn. Exploration, Library, Valakut Exploration. Three Force of Vigors, 1 Crucible, 2 Reclaimers total, 1 Tireless Tracker, 3 Valakut Explorations total. Okay. I think I'm supposed to Sanctum Prelate this turn on 2. That stops both Sylvan Library and Life from the Loam, and then I can use the Apparition later to answer Valakut Exploration. Crawl it on 3 makes more sense. Because Rip shuts off Loam. But Sylvan Library. Um, Crawl it on 3. Let them play the library. Apparition it. I guess that's fine. And then if I miss a land drop next turn and they wasteland me, yeah, okay. Hold on, there's also a line where I just like Source the Plowshares this now and play Rest in Peace. That's also interesting. I think I actually like that better. It's a little awkward in the short term in that like it makes my opponent's next two-ish turn cycles better for them. But this means that they can't randomly just go and get a missing combo piece and kill me if they top deck one. It also means that they can't just like go and find Tabernacle, which is a huge deal. Punished. I also don't know like how I beat them going activate Elvish Reclaimer for Tabernacle and Wasteland me in that same turn cycle though. So all in all, not a good place. Oh geez, that's yeah. No, I don't know that my line is correct. Like the lines lead to branching games that are very different. But like looking at the top few cards of the library here, with the top few cards being like Force of Vigor, Caracas, Thespian Stage, Valakut Exploration, another Exploration, like rough. Oh no, we're dead. We're losing this game. Like especially if I continue to miss land drops and like Tabernacle's a thing. I'll play out another turn or two, see if we can maybe activate a Mangara once. That'd be cool. Or not. Not is also cool. The hard cast a Force of Vigor for Rest in Peace. Cool, cool. Oh man, screw this card. This card's really good. Sacrifice this, put a -1 counter on a creature, activate only at a sorcery speed. Alright, we're not gonna beat like Or Grasping Dunes, Tabernacle, plus all this stuff. We're done. Regal Cheap, keep in mind that both of those games there, Valakut Exploration was paired with regular exploration. Like there was a turn in the middle there where Valakut Exploration basically did nothing other than doing 1 damage, right? Yeah, we've gotten comboed out in 3 of our 4 rounds, and the other round we played against Oko. So great day, great showing for taxes. I'm gonna try to turn on my air conditioning real quick. Okay. I'm pretty sure you all can't hear my fan. I think I've got my settings done correctly, so you can't hear that. Can someone from chat just confirm though? All right. Thank you, Innistrad Revenue Service. Don't fucking elves me. Oh, it's the same matchup again. That's not elves. So, cool. I think I'm supposed to remove this on site. That's my gut feeling. Oh, fuck. Blast Zone makes my vials so bad. I think the line here is Wasteland this Taiga, and hope that they don't actually have green mana. Oh, I might get to be the bully. Play another vial? No, I think I just want to put Batterskull into play next turn. Like, I want 2 creatures in play attacking as soon as possible. God damn it. Alright. Board is now extremely awkward with them having Grove of the Burn Willows. I can port them off of Loam specifically. Making my vials really shitty by playing the way that I am. But it's playing around some of the scariest possible things that can happen. With my mana curve the way it is, I'm probably supposed to leave my violet too. Need my opponent not to have another red producing land this turn, so I can go Jitte equip. Now Mazavith is going to stop that too. Basically, everything's awkward. That's actually really good. I'm not going to play around second Punishing Fire. I think I do this. Maybe I don't do that. I can get Dark Depths doing that. And just Vial in this, turn this into a 3/3 so it can't be killed by Punishing Fire. Cast Jitte. Port down a land on their turn. I can push 3 damage this turn, but I risk dying to just like Thespian Sage produce Mirage next turn. Oh shit, I am at 21. I passed priority that I shouldn't have passed there. I was going to port them. That's okay. Alright, so there is a crop rotation. They might just be getting another Grove, though. Like, another colored mana source is kind of a big deal with what they've got going on. They can try to get to the point where they can double Punishing Fire in the same turn cycle and kill this. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oscar, D&T just got a major shot in the arm. We are getting decimated this league. But more generally, the deck is in a better spot than it has been in months. Yeah, Apparition's great. Can play around a second Punishing Fire by just putting this here. Then I guaranteed get Jitte counters this turn. Yep. Why did it have to hit real exploration? That's a nuisance. That makes this Field of the Dead pretty much live. One, two, three, four, five different names. I don't know that it's correct to do it, Lord Darkview. Like, Rashad porting this turn is really good. In case anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, I have a line where I cast Skyclave Apparition, target Valakut Exploration, Violent Flicker Wisp, and then also eat their regular Exploration, and that line's very strong. But I think it's better to port, push damage, and try to kill with Flicker Wisp in the air later. I think I'm just going to eat Valakut Exploration and call that good. Let's do this in a specific way, though. We're going to move that over there so that can't get Punishing Fired and give my opponent a token that can block. So yeah, Aspirant's great. I think last time, what'd I do? Did I drop the Stoneforge package, one Thalia, and Spirit of the Labyrinths? No, that doesn't math out. No, I didn't play Paths last time. This is what I did. Yeah, as much as I like doing the thing, and like, boy, I love doing the thing, I think it's just correct to push damage that turn. Eh. I think this hand falls into the category of that, like, this is good enough to keep, but I don't think it wins. Wasteland on my Caracas is just devastating. Lord Darkview, this is a bribery stream, so don't take this one as what I would actually run. Ah! Fuck your tabernacle. Our opponent's gonna crop rotation, and I'm just gonna like fucking scream. Show it to me. Yep. I don't win this game if I let that tabernacle sit there and I don't play more cards. It sucks, but that's where we're at. Yep. Doing it in upkeep means that they don't get one more draw to look at crop rotation. It makes them have it in their opener. God damn it. So the good news is we have eliminated Thespian Stage from the equation. The bad news is our opponent has Life from the Loam and a whole bunch of lands. One of which is Wasteland, so I'm pretty dead to this. Another which is Tabernacle. I'm gonna try to hold this port for a little while. Um, Try to treat it as my third mana to cast a Sanctum Prelate onto. And port's also in their hand. I cannot catch a break tonight. Alright. I have a Force of Vigor for this vial too. Top deck the green land, cast it right now. Ruin me. Alright. Let's pack it in. We're not beating that long term with the situation that I'm in. My opponent has experimental. All right, I should pull this up for you all to see. So notable differences from my previous opponent's build. My opponent has one experimental frenzy and one lightning bolt that my previous opponent did not have. My opponent also isn't playing a tireless tracker. This is just like the last hand, where like I'm gonna get wastelanded and die. If I don't get wastelanded and die, this hand's really good. But it feels like I get wastelanded and die a huge portion of the time. Like, my best line is Caracas Pass, so that I can play around turn 1 Elvish Reclaimer, but then that, like, totally tells my opponent to wasteland me. I think I'm actually going to mulligan this hand. World Hates Paul, thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it. I definitely need to feel the love tonight. I think I need to go to 5. Um, this is just, like, super risky as well. This is the best hand I've seen so far. Probably don't get to play around early Reclaimer. I'll probably go these two back and just get savaged by Force of Vigor. I don't think I get to play around it. I play Rest in Peace. It's very good against fetch land into Life from the Loam, but I will basically instantly lose on the spot to Force of Vigor. I think I'm already instantly losing on the spot to Force of Vigor, removing one of these two, so I think I'm good with that. I need to shut off some lines where my opponent can get ahead. I am not going to play into Punishing Fire by tapping Mum. I'm actually in a really good position now that my opponent didn't have the Force of Vigor. Esper mana base is atrocious, though. Like, that deck loses to itself a lot. Like, I know I haven't come up smelling like flowers tonight either. Like, I've stumbled over myself a lot tonight. Ooh, port's not bad. There is a world here where I am supposed to put in Sanctum Prelate on 1 right now to play around crop rotation. Gotta stop 4 crop rotation, 4 exploration, 2 lightning bolts. My opponent's Punishing Fires aren't good. Their Life from the Loams aren't good. Their Valakut explorations aren't great. I think I'm most scared of dying to a Turbo Merit Lodge here. I am very confident that my opponent currently does not have Force of Virtue. I'm gonna try to cut them off of colored mana, and then ride a 2/2 to victory. Oh, did I say Force of Virtue? Well, there's a different 4 cost one of. Aha, they hit another card to play. Okay, we'll Skyclave Apparition that. It's not unexpected, I saw their deck list. Do the thing? I think do the thing is better than port. My opponent conceded, but I was I was doing the thing. Oh. Okay. So, to my anonymous donor, I would like to say, I'm sorry. Like, we tried, but we did not get to Mangara a single permanent tonight. It did not happen. Uh, Part of that was because we played a lot of combo decks where it was just too slow to matter, and part of that was just because, like, Skyclave Apparition is kind of like Mangara with haste, so it's better than Mangara in most cases these days. Like, obviously the cards are different; they have different functionality. Mangara's, excuse me, a little bit easier to reuse. Um, but yeah, Luminarch Aspirant looked great all night, but as far as like my results, we went 1-4, and we were trying our darndest to make things work. Um, Barry, do you have something that you want to talk about? If so, throw it in chat while I'm doing a tail end of the deck tech here. Yeah, Configurant. If you haven't like seen much Skyclave Apparition, it is 4 or less. So it gets most things in the format. It is target non-land known token, notably, so it doesn't hit Merit Lodge, which is kind of a big deal. And otherwise, there's some fringe stuff that it doesn't hit, like say Chandra Awakened Inferno. But it hits most things that matter. Um, I don't think the deck list necessarily felt bad. Like, these are probably suboptimal. Like, we're playing them because it's a donation deck list and, like, it's fun. But these should probably be something else. Whether it's more of the Stoneforge package or other creatures to help fill things out, a Giver of Runes to give Aspirant more protection. Good evening. Never catch the streams, but here I am. We're just wrapping up a league, and we're probably switching over to Monster Train after a little more Legacy Q&A. Yeah, I've been testing a lot of things. I liked this deck list that I played quite a bit. I 4-1'd with this list. It has Squadron Hawks as another evasive flyer that also gives you some card advantage versus decks like Snow. Uh, I liked this list a lot. It felt balanced. Like, I still had some recruiters, which has been dropping out of some of my lists. Like, it still has access to most of the stuff other than the Stoneforge Mystic package. Um, I haven't loved the Stoneforge Mystic package, and you all probably heard me saying, like, multiple times throughout the night, like, I wish this Stoneforge was just Aspirant. This card has been very consistently overperforming. Like, it's good versus combo, it's relatively good versus Delver. It's different than Stoneforge there. Um, but it represents a lot of damage over time It represents something that they really need to bolt. I do like playing Giver as a fifth mom in a lot of the decks that have Aspirant. Um, one of the earlier versions is this one, maybe this one. Some of the earlier versions were trying Judge's Familiar and Leon and Arbiter as ways to have more game versus combo, but Arbiter awkwardly isn't super great against some of the combo decks that are running around right now. So I don't know if that's where I want to be. Yeah, I think a D&T deck of some nature is definitely competitive right now, but I have no idea what that deck is supposed to look like. We only played it in one round tonight, but I did really like the sort of Feast and Famine that I was trying out in the sideboard. That protection was just like very good, getting through like Plague Engineer, Oko, Elks, Ice Fang simultaneously. Like that was good. Like I can even see a world where I end up main decking that. But, like I like having access to that. Yeah, I mean the Plague Engineer deck is historically going to be quite good against D&T no matter what the rest of the core is. But like Oko is absolutely unquestionably D&T's biggest problem in that matchup. All right. I think I'm going to cut off my recording here for YouTube purposes. Bye bye, YouTube.